Hey folks, this is Dan Mann from the Mann Group, and looking forward to talking to all you TBC folks today about hiring. We've got three classes we're gonna spend some time on. The first one is today on recruiting, the challenge of finding good people. And I want to call out that in our short sessions here today, I'm going to give you some principles and some philosophy, but I'm also going to give you some very specific tactics, even a few processes that I believe you can follow that'll help you with what is one of the biggest challenges that we face, and that is people. So here's a note to get us started. When you're hiring, begin with the end in mind. In other words, you want a dynamic team. You want folks on your sales floor that are really helping your customers, that are a joy to work with, that have accountability for the results, and just make your life easier. We call these folks achievers. And if we start with clarity about who we want, that's going to help us in recruiting. That's going to help us in our hiring and selection process. It'll certainly help us in the interview. So we want achievers. So I thought it'd be okay to begin by understanding the difference between achievers and the other folks that we sometimes hire. So there are really two sorts of mindsets that exist in the world of retail. And the achiever is one of those mindsets that we're after. But the other mindset's the one we've got to be careful about. And that is the protective mindset. Now, the protective mindset as an employee for you is a person that is just trying to do enough to keep their job. They're not going to go above and beyond. They're just trying to keep the boss happy, just enough so that they can not get fired. So these aren't necessarily bad people. They're just motivated in the wrong direction. They're motivated to do enough to keep their job, not get fired, but not any more than is called for. So they look pretty good when you're around. You're the boss, so they do just enough to keep you happy. But when you're gone, that's where the problem exists. You hear about these stories when not there about them coming in late. They're on their phone all the time. They're really not actively pursuing customers. They're hanging out behind the cash wrap. So their looks can be deceiving. It seems like they're okay, but their results, the metrics, the outcomes are never what you need. So they have no interest in improving, no desire to learn, and as much as possible, they try to fly under the radar. Now, these people create a declining standard in your store. They start showing up late. You don't say anything about it. Next thing you know, they're 10 minutes late. You don't say anything about it. Next thing you know, they're 20 minutes late and they show up with breakfast and they're hanging out in the back room, half hour late and eating breakfast. And you sit down with them and go, hey man, you can't do this. And so, I'm sorry, boss. Yeah. Next day, they're right back at work on time. But that standard is always in focus where they can drop that standard, cause you a lot of aggravation. And the way you have to manage these people is you have to manage these people by, man, you put in cameras to watch the sales floor. You double check on them. You hold your breath and hope that they will be predictable and show up and do their job. But the protective mindset's dangerous, costs you a lot of money, costs you a lot of time, and a lot of aggravation. So we don't want to hire the mindset. We want to hire the achiever. The achievement mindset is the people you want to have working for you. These folks, they live to set goals and achieve goals. They're intrinsically motivated. They know what they want out of life. They want to be part of something worthwhile. They want to contribute. They want to learn better. And the achiever is who we're after. The achievement mindset is the core person that's right to hire, because if you hire them, they tend to find a way to get things done. You say, listen, we want to accomplish this or that task. Their mindset is not, well, I don't want that. Their mindset is, let's go do something meaningful. This is a great new goal. Let's set the goal. Let's achieve the goal. These people have no trouble getting to work on time. These people have no trouble hitting your metrics and targets. The achievement mindset is the winning mindset. And for us, we need to be clear on we're looking for, and that's going to help us in our hiring. So when you manage the achiever, you're primarily just removing obstacles, because achievers get themselves up in the morning, they've got their goals they want to accomplish. So we need to make sure we manage them by setting up no obstacles in their path. They don't like the things achievers don't like. They don't like leadership inconsistency. They don't like needless tradition, short-sighted goals, ineffective goals. They're goal-driven. And so for that reason, they want to have good goals and meaningful, worthwhile goals. They want to be challenged, not under-challenged. They don't like a lack of recognition. If they're achieving things, they want to be recognized for accomplishing those things. They want to learn. So they're demotivated by a lack of training or lack of progress. But mainly the achievement mindset really doesn't like the weak manager who tolerates the protective mindset. When people are coming in late and they're having breakfast in the back room and they're not in dress code and they're not working with customers or on their phones, the achiever is on the side over here looking, why are we tolerating this? I want to be part of a team that's good. I want to be a part of winning. I want to be successful. And when you allow protective mindsets on the floor, the achievers, they're not going to stay. Most of you listening to this, I would assume, are in this role because you are achievers. And you can probably think back on jobs you've had that you had to resign from because the boss was really not hiring and building a team of achievers. So your goal, build achievers on your team, get rid of that protective mindset, have a team of people who want to win, and you will accomplish your goals when you do that. So that's who we're looking for. We're looking for the achiever on our sales floor. Unfortunately, when we're going looking for people, we tend to hire people out of friendship or people who are enthusiasts, the local best riders, the folks we met out on the trails. Oh, we heard that they worked in another store. And, oh, yeah, you worked for so-and-so? Sure. Obviously, I'll just hire you because you know something about the industry. Maybe it's someone in your family or you got a recommendation from someone. You should hire this person. That's not the best, most systematic way to identify achievers. There's a better way. You're looking for folks that are outgoing, energetic, curious, service-oriented, goal-oriented, and you're looking for a diverse staff. You can train an awful lot of the components of the bike industry. You can train on product, you can train on sales, you can train on service, but it is hard to train energy and curiosity. It's hard to train being service-oriented and goal-oriented. And so we look for this, and then we'll train the other skills. It's always been my method, and I think it works well for you. The diversity piece here goes beyond just racial diversity and goes to gender diversity and age diversity and skill diversity. If you're just hiring the elite athletes in your market, there could be some folks for you that are not really attracting your customer. So think about who your customer is and make sure you've got a workforce that represents your marketplace. That's going to go a long way. Now, here's the problem with looking for achievers. Here's the problem with what I've described, and this is the issue we face in recruiting. According to Dr. Jerry Bell, who's the country's leading expert on selection, only 8 to 12% of the population constitute this achievement mindset. Only 8 to 12% of the population are people that you're going to want working for you. Only 8 to 12% of the population are folks that should for recruiting and hiring process. So our strategy is to expand the net. We got to go after a lot more people. We've got to do a much better job of interviewing more to find the right people. If you selected 3 new last year and you interviewed 3 people to get those 3 people, well, the odds are not in your favor. And this is why it's important that you go in every possible marketplace that you can. One of the great things about the Bike Cooperative is this Acquire for Hire program. It gets your story out in every single possible that people are looking for jobs, and the ability to have hundreds of applicants lets the odds work in your favor. The ease of this program, I'm not an expert on the back of the platform, but I can tell you the folks at TBC can really help you make this easy, because I'm having a complicated process, and it may scare you and make you demotivated from using this process. The Acquire for Hire program is going to make it easier for you to get your story, your message, your jobs out in front of the people that need to see it. Let you then systematically work through those so that the 8 to 12% work in your favor. If you had 200 applicants and you could find 8 to 10% of those, maybe 20 really quality candidates that you could select from, man, the odds are now in your favor. And this is what you've got to do in order to be successful to make it work. So I think if you're not in the Acquire for Hire program, make that your goal as soon as you get off this call today. So here are some recruiting best practices that we want you to use. So first of all, if your website says now hiring, or work for us now, or here are some jobs, or apply here, change that language immediately to careers. You're looking for career-oriented, full-time for your business. I can tell you, and this is a whole separate conversation, you think your part-time staff is saving you money, and I'm going to tell you they're not, because they're not generating at the same rate that your full-time committed folks are. So having highly productive full-time employees is the path to financial success in the bike industry. So change the recruiting to the career model. This is not a job. This is a career path for people. And if you hire that person, then you've got an opportunity to really make an impact on your business. When you're recruiting, talk about the employment journey. Talk about the number of people that have come to your store, started their business, their career on your sales floor, and went on to own their own business, or went on to management, or went on to regional management, or perhaps made their way into the industry as a rep, or in some other place where they could see a place to start in the bicycle industry on your sales floor. That's attracting that right person. One of the real key for employees these days, if you've ever worked in the corporate world and you've been dealing with this corporate entity, these bosses that are out in another place, in another job, in another town, and you can't affect the industry or the business you're in because the owners are a million miles away and 10 stories here in their high-rise business, high-rise building. People want to work for the owner of a small business. People want to work directly for an owner and influence the owner of a business. And so put your face out there. Record a message from you, the owner, of what it's like to work here and what our company is about and what the vision is of this business and what we're doing. I remind you, the achiever mindset wants to do something meaningful. Well, tell them what that something meaningful is. And I believe you'll find you'll recruit and attract interesting people that will apply and want to come to work for you. Now, don't ask for a resume in your recruiting process on online resumes. A lot of people think that's an easy way to get applicants. It's not. If you knew how easy it is to have ChatGPT create an A+ resume that make you look like a champion, if you haven't tried that, go try it. It's not, a resume is not telling you the truth. Don't do that. Instead, secure the contact information of the applicant. We have a lot of people that the application process online is simply give us your name and the preferred method for contacting you, and just a little bit about yourself. Why applying with us. Something simple, and then the first point of contact is a screening call. If they're applying with you online, a screening call, and that is a phone call to the applicant, hear what they're like on the phone, ask a few simple questions. You don't need to spend a lot of time to do this, but you are now also recruiting. You're talking about your business. You're engaging with them by phone, and that phone call then it lets you then meet them if you decide you want to go into an actual meeting, bring them into an interview. So the screening call is a good part of the recruiting process. Now, if it's not a screening call, a customer, a prospect comes into the store with a paper application. They come into your store and say, "Are you hiring?" This is something that happens every day at retail, where there's a good candidate is standing on your sales floor as a customer. So you've got them on the sales floor as a customer, and they're interested in working with you, and they may say something to a salesperson. "You guys hiring?" And you don't want your salespeople to be the front of your company in that question. "Are you guys hiring?" I've heard it many times. Have a salesperson go, "No, I think we're fully staffed right now. We're not looking for people. You might try back later." Perfectly good candidates who believe there's no opportunity because someone on your sales force says, "I think we've got a full staff. We're not hiring." You don't want your staff providing that information. So any application that comes in, anyone expressing interest, comes to the owner or the manager of the business. That's absolutely crucial. And in fact, you should have on your sales floor cool little signs that talk about working, applying here. The sign should not say now hiring or please apply. The sign should talk about something interesting about the business, and it should be even funny and compelling, on brand, about how people could apply. You could possibly put a QR code there, and they could go to the phone, put in their information. Please contact me. I'd like to talk to you about a job here. Make it easy for that applicant to reach out to you, and then you set up the screening call to begin the recruiting process. We'll talk more about the interviewing and selection process in a future session, but that's how you begin the recruiting. Some of your best people will come from your sales floor. Some of your best people will be your customers. So pay attention there. Very important that they have a simple way for them to contact you. So here's the thing. You got to do the math. If you're looking to hire people, it's probably going to take you 10 interviews to find 2 possible achievers that you're going to select from. So the way to make those interviews more robust, or make the ability to have more of them, those screening calls that I've talked about here, that short phone constitutes an interview. And you can quickly identify on a screening call that the person's not well spoken, the person's maybe not reliable, the person doesn't sound like a great first impression. It lets you know this is probably not someone I'm going to work with. And so those interviews like that help you get your 10 interviews done more to find the 2 applicants that are going to make a big difference for you. So your biggest mistake that you're making is when you begin the recruiting process when you need to replace someone. That's not the time to begin recruiting. You should always be hiring. Well, now you may say, well, now we've got 10 people on, and that's plenty of people. And I would counter with, do you have 10 achievers on your staff? Do you have 10 A+ performers on your staff? Because if you don't, if you've got 3 A+ performers and 2 B performers and 5 C players, I'd always be hiring to bring in A players, and eventually your C players are going to go away, and you can even reduce their hours. Move to upgrade to a team of A players to a team of achievers. Because if you do not have a team of achievers and you're saying I've got a full staff, you've got a full staff with a lot of protective mindset on your sales floor. That's causing you problems. So hiring, always looking for quality people, and you'll be surprised at what can happen if you're always looking, always thinking about your prospects. Just a personal story. I started my retail career in 1990. I walked into the store that I wanted to work in, and I said, "You guys hiring?" And the person behind the counter says, "No, we're fully staffed." This is why I'm so motivated by this. I walked out the door assuming that there was no job, and behind me I heard the manager of the store calling my name. Sir, are you applying for a job? And he brought me back into the store, interviewed me, and hired me. The person who said, "No, we don't have any openings," was just an employee who was not the manager. So if that happens in your store and you've lost an A player, then again, I would change that process as quickly as possible. Okay, so we've spent some time on hiring. I would say, job one, get a hold of these folks and learn about Acquire for Hire and expand your to begin recruiting achievers and fill your store with achievers. So thanks for your time today, and invite you to take part of session number 2.